Alright, so welcome to the first episode of R&B Reviews. We're just going to be touching up on the first episode and second episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then we'll go more in depth with episode 3. So, first initial thoughts of the first episode. What did you think of it?
I'll be honest, when I was watching the first episode, I thought it was boring. Cause you just come off of WandaVision and then you start like the first episode of like the Falcon and stuff like that, and you're just like, nah, like it just didn't feel it. Like they were doing like a lot of introductions and stuff like that, but I felt like with these characters you kind of already knew them, so it was just hard to care about the characters with like the introduction.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It was a little boring, a little bit slower than I'm used to. I understand. I always give like the first few episodes time to build, but this was a little bit more slower than I'm used to. But I gave it a shot and then stuck with it. What about the second episode? What did you feel about that?
The second episode, I still felt like it was slow. They were introducing characters, so like they were introducing the fake Captain America and stuff like that, and they're showing like their relationships with like him being like their op and whatever in like that universe. And I felt like their dislike of him kind of made sense, but I don't know, it felt like a little bit forced, and their like relationship between Bucky and Sam wasn't like it just felt a little bit awkward, like out of place a little bit. So I thought the second episode was cool, but I didn't really like it. Like, how about you?
I thought it was much better. They try to paint like the Captain America as like just a regular person and somebody that you could relate to as well. He's just trying to fill in the shoes of somebody who's like on a pedestal. So you're kind of getting like some sympathy votes, but it was still slow at this point. I liked it overall. Some of the characters that they introduced, they sounded cool. Made me research them, see if they're actually Marvel characters or they're just random side characters. Did you see anything cool that you noticed from the first episode?
I feel like nah, like there was nothing that I seen like the first episode, like the action scene when you first go into it. I'm like it was cool, but they didn't really like build on any of the villains. Like you just got to see like Falcon fight, and like Falcon being a side character, it's kind of already hard like to have fallen in love with him like to begin with. So like seeing him fight was like whatever.
So the action scenes or whatever.
Yeah. And then
I like the part where he got into the helicopter and he's just like, "What's up?" And then they went to the fight, back to the fight, and I think George Saint Pierre, he came back as the villain. He was in the villain of one of the Captain America movies, so he came back, and that was
the guy he fought in like the first episode.
Yeah, that was the first episode. That was the villain on the helicopter.
I actually had no idea.
Yeah, so he came back, and I was like, that was pretty cool.
How did you feel about like in terms of like Bucky and then like his situation, like how they introduced like Bucky into like the show?
So like the first episode, it was cool and it made sense because it's like Bucky's had a lot of like things happen to him mentally, so he's not like very stable. That's why people didn't want him to get the shield, like fans wise. So he's not stable, and like I noticed the list he was carrying and how he had like one set of names on the left and one on the right. That was something I picked up on. I didn't understand the names on the right until the end of the episode, but the left names, that was all the people that he helped when he was brainwashed under Hydra. So he was trying to get them back, or not kill them because he's trying to rehab, but pretty much have them arrested or caught in a certain way. And for the page on the right at the end of the episode where he realizes, or we realize he was the one who killed the Asian guy's son, and he's like trying to fix it by becoming his friend, taking him to go get drinks or food or something like that.
I think that was
wild.
I think that was wild.
Yeah, that put a really sad spin on it because the Asian guy opens his door late at night, and you think he's gonna say like, "I killed your son," but he looks at the picture and he's like, "Damn, that was me," and he walks away. So it was really interesting. Like you can see like the emotional aspect of it, trying to get you closer to these characters. But again, it was kind of slow, just getting used to it. So we still have to see where the plot's going.
And one thing I want to throw into that, I feel like some of the things were forced, like kind of corny. Like when he was dating the girl, and then like they were hanging out, and the girl's like, "The worst thing that you can do is lose your son or your parent." Like and they're talking about how like they don't have a word for if your son dies, but they have a word for like if your parent dies, like you're an orphan.
You're a widower and something
yeah,
like that.
but like and then like she was just going in, but I felt like
why was she going so in depth
yeah.
on a date? That's what I was thinking. I was like, if the guy did that, everybody would be like, that's what you don't do on a date. And she did that, and this guy walked away.
It was actually the craziest thing.
And then she said, "Did I say something? Like, what are you talking about?" But yeah, that was funny. In terms of the third episode, how do you feel about it? Did this ramp up the story? Obviously, I think we both agree it does.
Fact, like I feel like the third episode was like lit. I feel like everything about it, like from the beginning of the episode towards like the end, was like it was just consistently like good and like interesting, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Like you're like my eyes were like glued on the screen, at least for this episode, and like the interactions between Bucky and Sam felt more like natural, especially like when he was explaining the story between like him and like Zemo and like Zemo escaping and stuff like that. I felt like that was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then like his interaction with Zemo, like with the numbers like that, like Bucky responds to, like if you say these specific numbers, Bucky like ends up going into the Winter Soldier. So I feel like the way they like set up the episode was like perfect. Like I feel like if episode 1 and 2 were something like episode 3, then it would be perfect. But like episode 3 was just amazing. Like I don't think they could have like done it any better.
Is it amazing like overall, or from the point of the story it's at, that's why you think it's amazing?
I feel like just overall, like I feel like I could watch that episode. Like if they took that episode and made it the first episode, I would still think like that episode is good. Like they could have took episode 1 and 2 out, started off there, and I would still think it's like amazing. But obviously like 1 and 2 is like necessary to kind of like build on like what's going on in these guys' lives.
Yeah.
And and that kind of puts it into perspective, because we only have like there's only 6 episodes this season. So like how do you feel like if like episode 3 and then now thinking about episode 1 and 2, like what do you think about that stuff?
I liked the episode 3. I thought it did ramp it up really well. I liked like had the little comedy that they had. It was a lot of it was sometimes it was forced, like it wasn't natural. But sometimes they did have it like on point where they're like, I think it's the big 3, and he's like, what big 3? You know the big 3, and then they're just going back and forth. Some little things like that was cool. Or like, you can't call me Buck. That's what Cap called me that, right? Things like that. Those were cool. I just didn't like the forced comedy, and that's what we expected going into this. Like from Civil War, they were really comedic, but this one is, I don't know. It's
you could sense like when they're trying to like push that like forced thing.
Yeah, it's kind of forced. I like the overall story. I don't like the villain, the Hand. It's advancing to like now it's the power broker, but I don't like that terrorist, not terrorist organization, but that's what they're painting out to be. They're the ones the flag smashers. They're trying to take over the GRC supplies and give it to people that came back from the blip.
Do you know what their motivation is for like what their motivation for what they're trying to do it?
So they're pretty much saying like we shouldn't keep like resources away from other people. So the GRC is trying to get everybody accumulated back from the blip. So like getting back readjusted into the world, and they have these resources, money, power to do all of that, but they take it step by step with paperwork, all that. So only a few people get in. It's pretty much like concentration camps for these people, but they're trying to make it like give them everything you can. Let's not be greedy or divisive. Let's that's what, because their chant was like one people, one world.
Yeah.
And they kept saying that. All of it like just seems like some corny stuff, like just regular Marvel stuff.
Yeah, it does seem like
even though like the action scenes, like you're back into an actual Marvel thing, coming back from like we're watching after WandaVision, while WandaVision like really had you thinking and broaden your horizons in terms of superhero movies, because now it's getting into like witchcraft, darker magic and all that stuff. Even like we're thinking like there's gonna be a devil or people like that coming into the show. So it was cool. I liked the third episode. I really liked the racial tones that they had, because it was like they showed you right in the front, and they were telling you exactly what they're trying to do. And like they went to Baltimore, for example, They
to see
talked to
the other Winter Soldier, right?
the super soldier, and he was Isaiah, and he had this serum. So he did a lot of great things for being a hero, but they ended up locking him up and taking stuff from him, like blood samples. They accused him of a lot of things, I believe, and he said he got beaten, I want to say. Um, so things like that, it was cool to see. And then Falcon and Bucky leave, and then
The cops
immediately,
pull up.
and this is in Baltimore, so it makes sense like why they chose Baltimore specifically.
Yeah.
Maybe Isaiah's from there, but it's a good area to have it at. They just pull up on them right away. Sam's the issue.
That
The black guy is the issue. And they just go, "Sir, is this guy bothering you?" Things like that.
To be honest, I feel like the way they set that scene up, I feel like it was almost forced. Cause
It
like,
was forced, yeah.
like as soon as you seen it, you kind of like linked it to like, oh, like this is like one of those like it was like a black thing. I wish they like kind of like meshed it more to be like kind of random. Like I wish the acting was better in terms of like the cop to make it look more like realistic in terms of, to be honest, it's real because it happens, but like it feels like as soon as you left the house and you seen the cops, like everyone's mind already knew like like he's gonna go against Sam, and then like and then the guy just talked about like how he was racially treated. So like I wish they like kind of like, I don't know, separated maybe the scenes a little bit so it didn't make it as obvious.
Like right away happening.
Yeah. So
Could
I feel
been,
like
even like for example when they're walking up to Isaiah's house, they see two little kids, and he's like, "Hey, you're Black Falcon," and then he, like that from the kid, it's a kid, so he can't have the greatest acting. But that one was like, okay, like you're forcing this racial.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's another thing that's I feel like that scene added to like it being forced, because like I feel like that was a little bit extra, but I think if you took that scene out and then you had just those other two scenes, I feel like it would have fit more perfectly. But I feel like that block of content was just like, like let's put in like a segment and then be like, yo, like this one's for black people. But I feel like if it was a more realistic conversations, then I feel like it would have been better. Except the super soldier, I feel like that was like accurate. Like
that was needed. Like he was upset, and he was showing actual emotional stuff. And the thing is, like that stuff happened in real life, like in World War II, I want to say. They had, or World War I, they had Africans. They injected syphilis into them. I don't know what they were trying to do, but they injected people like that. So it kind of takes into like history. A lot of comics would do that. They'll take what's happening in the real world, change it into like a comic book story, and then you can see that it mirrors it pretty well. Besides Isaiah's conversation, he was also saying like "you people," and pointing at Bucky. So we're as audiences, it's a double meaning. So one is like he's white, and Isaiah's black, obviously. So that and Hydra versus just the regular people. So that was another racial thing that they did. There's a lot of things in the show that show you that like this is a lot about race, like Sam getting denied, or Sam's family getting denied for a bank loan.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Even though he's a superhero, like
I was shocked he didn't get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, like
some sort of how benefits. Much you get paid, and he's like, oh, like I just do this, like this because this is what I do. I'm not
like
just...
even to think about it, like how much does the U.S. spend on military? They spend like $300 billion a year, and you'd think with having superheroes decreases the need for the military, so you can give them a check, like pay their yearly salary or something like that.
Does he get like, I guess going back to that, does he get like his like Falcon? Because he doesn't have a power. He uses like the Falcon like suit thing, right? Mm-hmm. So when he's done like his shift, does he have to like give it back to them, or like? Because I never seen him with it.
I think it's always with him, like in some sort of capacity, but it is government issued, so it's like. It's their property. Like,
isn't it on his back?
Huh?
Isn't it on his back? Like, or how does he like turn in like into like the Falcon? Like, doesn't he have a thing that he puts on his back?
Like generally, it's just a suit. He'll just suit up. Like normally, like Tony Stark can just tap his.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But I don't think his tech is at that level yet. So he has to carry like a backpack and put your suit in.
That makes sense.
That's cool. But what about like Bucky? Like, do you think Bucky, as a super soldier, does he like match up as a super soldier? Like, sometimes I forget he's a super soldier. Like, I understand he has a bionic arm, beyond that, I'm like, he's regular human. Like, that's what I know, he's a super soldier, but I forget sometimes in the show.
I feel like when he was fighting with the other like Captain America or the fake Captain America, I should probably use his real name, but when he was fighting with him, like it almost felt like Bucky was like less than in terms of being like a super soldier. Like these brand new people who just recently got powers ended up like being too much for him, and he was supposed to be super experienced. So I feel like in the eyes of what you expect Bucky to be, he
That's a
seemed
good
kind of
point.
like subpar of like.
He definitely seems subpar.
Of a
Like, I
super
understand you
soldier.
didn't expect it, but regardless, like, say if you're fighting humans, you'll tone down your strength, but then you realize these aren't humans, tone it up. Like,
Yeah, it just
there
didn't
should
make
be a
sense.
switch. Yeah, like, I don't know.
I remember seeing that they think the reason why he might not be at like going as hard is because in his therapy meetings they
meetings.
said you can't hurt people. But
Yeah,
I wonder.
that went out the window, though, because he was also not supposed to do anything illegal as at the step one.
That's true. And then,
So that's that.
how do you feel about like so we agree like the third episode is lit. Like how much do you think the third episode being lit is due to having Baron Zemo as part of like the cast? Like how like do you think the episode would be as lit without him? Like how big of a part do you think he plays in like it being super
He
sick?
played he pretty much, in terms of the story, he's like the key. Like, if they don't have him, they don't have episode 3.
That's true.
In terms of the story. But in terms, I also like, in terms of the story, I don't like when stories go back to revisit the same villain, and like they need his help, or like they happen all the time. Superman, Batman, anything you name, like you can see like the superhero having to go back to the villain, and it's cool. And I didn't know too much about Zemo in terms of comics, just from thing. Now he's rich all of a sudden. Like, he has access to this. He's been to Madripoor. He knows all these people in the underground game. But from Age of Ultron and Civil War, he was just painted to be like a family man.
Yeah.
And then the family man's family dies, and now he's a super villain. Not a super villain. He's a villain, but a very intelligent villain. And then not only is he intelligent, he's able to impersonate a lot of people, speak German, infiltrate a Hydra. Like, this guy's next level. Like, if you don't really pay attention, you don't know. But if you look into what he's done, infiltrate Hydra, get Winter Soldier active, kill the other Winter Soldiers. What's it called? Impersonate several people, kill several people. He's a crazy martial artist. Like, he can fight people out of the blue. Like, he could just do so much things. And on top of that, he's like strategist, very smart. Now he's rich, powerful, plugged in. Like, what does this guy not do? Like, I don't know.
That's like a good point.
It was just like they just threw it at us. Like, yeah, this guy's everything now.
Like, he's an amazing character, but it's just like hidden. Like now he's an amazing character.
Like, it seemed like it was like, for the plot, he became everything.
Yeah.
He might have been everything in the comics, but not for MCU. That was cool. He was really funny. Like, he was jokes. And you know, he has like his own like mission, because he kills the Doctor.
He so before, like in the comics, when he killed T'Challa's dad, I think, or when he tries to kill one of the Winter Soldiers or get the Winter Soldiers caught, then his plan was to like commit suicide or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like, so now that there's more like super soldiers, now he's like, I'm committed to like ending like the super soldier.
Yeah.
When he killed the Doctor, like, personally,
so that's why he killed the Doctor. I was like, what's the other goal?
I think I know it's cheating, but like I feel like it's a writer's like thing, because like you don't want that in the MCU where like, because whatever the Doctor made in terms of the super soldier serum, like it was like super effective, super easy, like anyone could just drink this, like, so I feel like plot wise they couldn't have the Doctor like in the world, because people would be like, oh, how come this Doctor doesn't just make a super soldier serum, and then they can have like, yeah,
because he already seemed like evil enough. Like, that Doctor didn't give a shit. He just wanted the money and the funding, and he wanted to go down in the history books. What about the other characters? Like, how do you feel about like Torres? Now they entered Sharon Carter. Selby's kind of a side character, so it doesn't matter too much about her. Just, yeah, Ayo coming back on the third. Like, how do you feel about these characters?
I like Torres. Torres seems like a cool character. I wish we got to see more of him in episode 3.
Same.
Sharon, I feel like I like the little dynamic that they had with Sharon, and then I'm not as too familiar with the MCU as like Brinder is, but when I seen Sharon and then like they're talking about like the history and how like she's still on the run and stuff like that, I still feel like she has ulterior motives in terms of like what she wants to do, and I wonder like how she feels towards the fact that like she's being snaked, because when Sam offers her the opportunity of like being like reprieved or like being exempt for like from all her charges, she doesn't really jump at the opportunity to do that until like he asks again. He's like, alright, whatever, I'll do it for free. And she's like, I don't do charity. Then she's like, alright, like then he's like, she's like, alright, I'll help you, and then like you can do that for me. And then there's a scene where they go to drive off somewhere, and then like after they drive off, she gets in a car with a group of people. I think that's what I remember. Her getting in a car with a group of people, and she says like, I think she says follow them or something like that. But I don't know. I wonder like what her goal is. I think she'll be an interesting character, but I wonder what her goal is. But I still think Cap did her dirty, because Cap ends up needing her for her help. He finally kisses her and then forgets that she ever existed at the end of the movie, and then it says, F, I'm gonna go back in time.
Yeah, so she did get dirty. So like what you're saying is she got into the car at the end and she said like, we have to do this. She was talking to her like worker. She has somebody there.
Okay.
So she's pretty much rich at this point. She's selling artwork, like legit artwork. Everything that our museums are fake. So she's selling real artwork that was stolen or whatever. So she's hustling now. She's a real hustler. So in 2018, Civil War takes place. She helps Cap and Falcon get their equipment, and they go do their things. They go into hiding, all of them, because they're wanted internationally. And then Captain America and stuff go through Infinity War, Endgame. Endgame's done. So it's a 2-year window, and then the 5 years blip happens. She's
listed as someone who's disappeared.
She's disappeared, and then she comes back. So realistically, she's only lost 2 years, but MCU wise, 7 to 8 years. So people forgot about them. Everybody else got pardoned in the Avengers, and she, the one who helped, yeah, she was still wanted. They didn't even think about her. They never mentioned her name. Nothing. And honestly, as fans, we thought she got pardoned. I thought she got pardoned, so I didn't think like twice on it. But these guys did not care. Nothing. She's still in hiding. She can't speak to family or anything like that. So she became a hustler. Makes sense. Like, I respect that she didn't say, "Oh, I've been tracking. I've been working." Like, I respect that, because sometimes in these shows, they'll be like, these good guys can't do bad things. So she was a good person, and instead of saying, I'm working undercover and I'm trying to take down Selby and Power Broker, she's like, no, screw it. I'm gonna just live.
My money up.
I'm gonna get my money up, man. So I was like, you know what? I respect that. And then I think Bucky says to her like, she's became awful now. And I'm like, that's true, but like I respect it. So that makes sense. What about the other side characters like Lamar Hoskin? How do you feel about him?
I feel like him being like the sidekick.
And John Walker as well. The new Cap.
Like
both of them.
I'll start with the new Cap. Like the new Cap, I feel like in the beginning they tried like a little bit. Like they gave one scene to making him seem like we're gonna make this guy like human. Yeah. And then like the rest are like he's just gonna be like, actually to be honest, they kind of made him a little bit more trying to be a good guy, like when he tried to pick these guys up and like help them and stuff like that. But for whatever reason they're like super against it, mostly because he's like the new Cap, and then they're like, oh, like this looks bad like to our old Cap. Mm-hmm. But like I feel like it's kind of obvious they want to portray him as like this super bad guy. I wish they made him more like in between, like when he's like, don't get in my way then. If you're not gonna do this, then don't get in my way. I wish as the actor, like he comes off as like, I'm trying to like be as good as possible, but I won't let anyone stop me from like doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
I feel like this show kind of leans more towards like, yeah, he's definitely like a villain. Even like from the very first scene that you see him, I don't know how the directors did it, but from the very first scene, you're like, alright, this guy's a fraud.
Like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, like from the very first scene, you don't even like him. So I'm just like thinking, I'm like I don't know how it's possible, but like I don't like the guy at all, and like I feel like he hasn't even done anything like bad in other than saying like, yeah, don't get in my way. He hasn't really done anything too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He did beat up that one guy, but like in all fairness, the guy spit on his face, and the guy is lying, and he knows 100% that he's lying.
Did he beat him up?
He grabbed him. He grabbed him and like pushed him. I thought I was gonna punch him in the face.
Yeah, honestly, like when you spit on somebody, that's just disrespectful.
Mad disrespectful. So, I do think they show him as like a villain type, but I wish they give more opportunities to show him as like a super good guy. So like you're kind of like split along the lines of liking him and like hating him. I feel like Baron Zemo is more likable than the fake Captain America.
Fake Captain America.
Like if someone's like, yo, you have to pick one character to go, like I'd be like, alright, take the fake Captain America. Like Baron Zemo is mad. He's mad likable.
What about Hoskin?
Hoskin, I don't know. Like he just seems like, bro, he's just there to do a job, and like
he's literally just the side guy.
Yeah, like he's just like literally like the perfect sidekick. How do you feel about like now having the new Captain America? Do you automatically hate him when you see him?
Automatically, he looks stupid. Like I just didn't like the way he looked. And if you noticed, like in the end credits, so they showed posters and stuff, and on top of it said "manufactured hero," like somebody spray painted it.
Yeah.
Like his thing. So people, like you can tell in the MCU, they don't like him, or it was a hint towards us.
Oh, he's like the industry plan of like superheroes.
Yeah. So pretty much, and he like has to be involved with the government more than Cap was. Cap was like, I'm not gonna rely on anybody. Well, like if they signed the Sokovia Accords, Cap would be like, now we have somebody overseeing us. This is a Cap. That's the Cap that would have happened. And it makes it like there's a whole racial thing as well. It has to be a white guy. America's not gonna pick a black guy.
Facts.
Lamar Hoskins, he's a black sidekick. That's all he's gonna be, and it shows like a racial tone in
I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about them doing that.
Yeah, and then but from our perspective, like Falcon is supposed to be the new Captain America, so he is black Captain America, and it works. It happens in the comics as well. Other things like when what's it called? Sam gives up his shield. Right away, I'm like, it's not staying in that museum. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Yeah, it was sad. Everything was sad. Like you get his point of view, but you're like, yeah, he's
kind of dumb on that point.
He's an idiot. Back to John Walker and Lamar Hoskin. I think they're super soldiers. So the Power Broker. I think in the comics, in a version, he gives it to a few people. And in the interview for John Walker at his high school, they say you score off the charts for strength, speed, endurance, mental fortitude, or whatever they said.
You think he started out as a super soldier? Or with super serum?
Yeah, and then he cuts them off to just say, hey, I'm just like a regular guy. But he's had that, because even going back to the fight in the second episode, him and Lamar, non-super soldiers, are doing more damage than Bucky and Sam were. And they are both Avengers, I guess, and one's a super soldier. So how is that possible? Like humanly possible, it doesn't make sense. And he's able to throw the shield and catch it perfectly, hit all his targets. Like even if you're like an advanced frisbee player, like that's not happening.
Did they ever say if they made him a super soldier? Like did the government make him a super soldier to become Cap, or was he already like, or he just was the person he was, and then they made him like.
What the story is trying to say is that he's a regular Joe in the military, and he is like, he went above and beyond. Like he's still human, he's organic, but he's went above and beyond, and this is what you could be. That's what they're trying to say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But he's a super soldier. He's gotten a few different medals that they were trying to explain. But yeah, I think he's a super soldier. I think that's the doctor said they stole 20. Carly stole 20 of them, and the Power Broker is pretty much behind it. So I'm pretty sure the Power Broker injected them. That's my thoughts.
They say that since she stole it, they say that whoever the power broker is gonna be wanting to like go after Carly because of like her situation and like them stealing like the super soldier serums.
Yeah.
So they're saying that he's gonna want to go after her. I feel like her. The one thing that I don't like about it was the flag smashers is I feel like some of the things are kind of corny in terms of like when they were going on the plane and the one guy sacrificed himself. I feel like that was the dumbest out of all the scenes. That was like the dumbest scene, like because they just drive off and then the guy's standing in the middle of the road and then like he runs at them and they shoot him and they dust him off.
Because this is how like they want to say like terrorists think, like they think they're helping the world or whatever, and then they think sacrificing themselves for the good of everything is helping them achieve their goal, and they're like they're not high and mighty, but they're a martyr, I guess. I don't know, something like that.
But then why not like the thing I was confused about is like if I stop my car and the guy's standing there and he runs at me and I shoot him, I'm gonna get back in my car and start chasing them. Like I feel like the timeline between
because he tosses the what's it called pole at them.
Oh,
so
okay.
Off. Yeah, so then he runs. Honestly, the pole is good enough. Like you could have.
You could have just ran.
Yeah, you're a super soldier. You could have. The pole is good enough. You could have sped off and then maybe even jumped onto the plane and.
That makes more sense then.
Yeah, but I don't. How do you feel about like Carly? All those side characters, Flag Smashers, those guys. Like any of the side characters. Is there anybody that sticks out to you?
No,
Torres.
I don't. I feel like. Torres kind of sticks out in the beginning. I thought he was going to be more of like a main character. But then like he gets injured so he can't be. I feel like none of them like stick out. Honestly, I still feel like Bucky and Sam, up until like the 3rd episode, I feel like Bucky and Sam were side characters. Like I was watching a show about side characters. Whereas WandaVision obviously she's the main character. But this show still felt like they were side character interactions. They just felt like side characters. It could even be argued that Zemo like is a bigger main character than those two are because like he just like holds more presence on the scene. Like you want to see like what he does next. Like he was in the club, he was dancing, and then like it just it's just mad noticeable. Like he like when the camera's on and he's in the scene. Like your eyes kind of like shift towards him, and then like that goes back to you saying like Bucky and him being like a super soldier and like the issue with like does he really feel like a super soldier? Like it feels like when you get into any scene, like there's never a scene where I'm like, alright, Bucky handled himself.
Bucky got this,
Other than in the club with like regular human beings, like he's never like done anything like super sick. Sam also, but he can't beat the Falcon every time. Like in the 3rd episode hasn't done something super sick. It was Baron Zemo is the one that like saved them in that situation, and to an extent, Sarah Carter saved them in that situation. I feel like I don't know. I guess that's a new thing.
Sharon Carter, yeah.
Sharon Carter, yeah. That's a new thing I noticed. Like they don't give the vibes of like main characters. So even the side characters, I would say, I'm not as interested in because like. I don't know. I guess Sharon Carter and
she's a baddie.
Baron Zemo,
so she'll get attention.
100%.
But yeah. So I feel the same way. Like in the 1st episode, so when they focus on Sam and how he's staring at like Cap's things and he has to fill those shoes and he just doesn't feel ready. Like that's when I'm like, okay, Anthony Mackie's taking into a leadership role. Like he's stepping into main role. So that's when I was like, okay, he's transitioning. He's doing a good job. That's what my first thoughts were, and I was happy for him because not a lot of like black superheroes are like number one.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of side black characters, but they're not main ones. So I was happy for him. But in the 2nd and 3rd episode, that dropped off. Like you said, it seemed like they're just side characters, and you're watching a whole story about just side characters.
Facts.
But I like them, so I hope something changes. In terms of like directors and the writing of the script, Torres, I really like Torres because he seems like he's kind of like Spider-Man. Like he has so much enthusiasm and he's young and he just wants to do things. And I didn't know this, so I had to research this afterwards. Torres is actually a character who takes over the Falcon mantle, and in a different issue, I believe he gets injected with the super soldier serum. So now he's Falcon with like abilities, strength, speed, and all of that. So I liked him, but they didn't show him. Like they just dropped him off too. So they just stopped showing that guy. Like I said, Sharon is baddie, so you're always gonna like him. Um, any other characters that we're missing? Like we can talk about this one a little bit later. Any other side characters that like stuck out to you that you want to talk about?
No, like I never really. I would just say like generally like I never really like got like a side character that I'm like oh I wonder what happens to him or like where he goes next. So I would feel like nah like with the side characters, Torres is like the biggest side character in the show, but like I really don't feel like that like attachment to
How
him.
about Carly Morgenthau?
Carly, I feel like
Besides her last name.
I guess she's the main villain.
The name comes from
she's the Flag
comics.
Smasher. Is it?
Yeah.
Her I don't know too much about, but like she's the main villain, but like I feel like their villainous role is kind of small so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where it's gonna lead to. So like I don't really like I can't the story hasn't even progressed far enough for like I care about like what she's doing so far.
Yeah, I pretty much didn't like her from the jump. Like I don't like the actress. Like she's cool, she can play in other roles, but this role, I don't know. I don't like the whole like emotional thing, and I don't know. I like nothing. I don't care for it. I don't sympathize with her. I don't care for her. Like it doesn't matter. She's whatever, and you can already tell like these guys are just being used. They're just pawns, pretty much. Like they just stole something. They're just like rugrats that stole a serum, used the serum. Now they think they're gonna do top shit.
Yeah.
They are really good with computers. They can hack into stuff. Now they got strength. But you know the power broker is the main. Like now everything's been hinting towards the power broker. Even in episode 1 credits again, they said the power broker is watching. I didn't pick up on it. I don't know too much about power broker in comics, but other people picked up on it, so we read up on those things. So in terms of those characters, it's whatever. Don't care. Do they fit into the story? I guess they do. We'll have to see still further on. What about... Okay, so let's go back to WandaVision, because that's something that I really enjoyed, and I know you liked it too. From the first episode to the 9th episode, it was really entertaining. What are your thoughts on WandaVision?
I feel like WandaVision was fire. Honestly, I'm the opposite of everyone else. Like I felt like I liked everything except the last episode. I felt like there was mad creative like in terms of like every episode was like a decade in like TV, and then like how they progressed, and like every episode wanted you wanting more. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the idea of like at the end of the episode I'm like, what's gonna happen next? Like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like this to happen? Like this is this, like this person like did this person did that, like I can't believe that person was evil. Mm-hmm. I thought they were good. Like so I feel like every episode like moving every episode like going forward was like sick to me. But I guess the reason why I didn't like the last episode is kind of because like the ending wasn't like as surprising. It didn't have me feeling like how all the other episodes did, which it couldn't because it was the final episodes.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was an issue. In terms of like why I liked the show. The main reason why I liked the show is because it was cliffhangers every episode, but you can't really do that on a season finale. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like they were good at introducing like new characters, making me interested in these new characters, so that all came to an end. And what happened with the villain, in terms of like the villain being like the head of not S.H.I.E.L.D., the head of Sword, him like the way like
Hayward?
His story ended. Yeah, Hayward. The way his story ended was kind of like super let down. Like the girl like crashed into his car or something like that.
And then he just stuck there.
Yeah, like I felt like it could have been way better in terms of like who he was.
Yeah.
And how it ended. But did you like? Would you say like WandaVision like goated?
I think WandaVision is like goated or close to. Like that was really good, well done. They spent a lot of money on the budget. Everything was really well executed. From the first 2 episodes, a lot of people didn't like it because it was like black and white, and they're like, why is it black and white? But it's like you have to understand like it's gonna advance, and she's really into what's it called, sitcoms, and it stems from when they were under hiding. Her and Vision would just stay in a room, and she would just watch sitcoms all day. So she has that love, and they flash it back to her childhood, where they lived in Sokovia.
Yeah, Sokovia.
Where they lived in Sokovia and they would just watch with their family, pretty much not nightly or weekly. So I really understood it and I liked it, and you could see little things like people breaking into her little world. And I've read the House of M comics, and I've mentioned to you before. So the story's just crazy in it. She creates herself an alternate universe. She brings back Vision. She has kids, and the kids turn out to be like demon spawn and stuff from a different character. And then she eventually says no more mutants, 3 words, and her power level is insane. Maybe that's why I like it a lot too. This is goated, and she takes away all mutants in the universe pretty much. So I definitely think it's goated. I liked all the episodes. Every week, like I don't like watching shows every week because I don't want to wait. But this one, I enjoyed it because then I could talk to you guys about it, and we could always theorize. I came up with my own theories. What's gonna happen? Why did they do this? Or did you see this? Or what happened over here? Things like that. That's what I really enjoyed from the show, and it made me feel entertained even when I wasn't watching it. When I was waiting, I was still entertained. That's how I like to look at it. So there's a lot of high points in WandaVision, especially like the fights. Going back to Agatha, people pinned Agatha from episode 1. They pointed her out.
I don't know how they did it.
They're like, because they're just into comics, and like I didn't know about Agatha Harkness, but they pointed her out, and she has his powers. They show her flashbacks. Those are super interesting. Some of the things that were weird, there's definitely weird episodes. Her kids were a little weird.
Agatha's kids?
Wanda's kids?
Yeah.
They were cool, I guess. They're just there, I guess. But they showed Agatha's flashback where she kills her coven and takes their powers, and she's trying to like say I'll be good, and then her mom says nah, and then they end up battling. Bro, that was like sick, cause I like witchcraft and stuff like that, cause it was just cool to see. What else? She fights Wanda, and Wanda doesn't know any of this. She hates Wanda. She doesn't hate her. She just hates how strong she is.
Yeah.
Without having to do any of the basics, and she's had to learn for years and years, and she's like, I can't do any of this. So it was really cool to see, and everybody still thinks that there's a demon or a devil person still out there, especially with the ending of WandaVision. I liked the ending because it was still a good battle. It was still a good outcome, and Wanda's still like really about her shit. So she's ready for anything, and she's getting stronger. So she'll fight Doctor Strange if she has to. The only thing that was a letdown was because we were so into it, and there were so many theories, so many YouTube postings about what could happen. We expected people from like Doctor Strange, Reed Richards to make an appearance, some mutant action. Who's the devil guy I'm thinking of? Mephisto. So Mephisto, we expected all these characters to come, all these cool storylines to be active.
And stuff, and it was just really like only the characters like all the characters were just like strongly just tied to that story.
Yeah. But
they didn't really have a lot of like outside characters that come into collab and stuff like that.
Exactly. So that didn't happen. That was the only letdown. But I feel like if you take away the lens of the theories, it was still a really good executed show. And I feel bad for like the directors and stuff, because before the last episode came out, the director actually said like, you guys gotta calm down on your theories and stuff. Like, relax. This is not.
There's like too much to go off.
There's too much to go off of. Yeah, because these guys have to be true to the characters in the comics. Have good character arcs, show the emotion, all that. They have to have powerful levels. They have to stay in the story of the MCU because it is canon.
Pay the actors if they have a collab.
Yeah, and then they have to make a good story, make it fit into the universe. They have to make it entertaining for us, like week after week, and not have us assume things or find things out too easily. And then they have to go against these theories. So it's tough in that aspect. So I respect it. I really liked it. I don't say there's much lows. So coming off a show like WandaVision to Falcon and Winter Soldier, it just seems like very slow. Like
no boost. Like you can't like. I feel like the fact that I came off of WandaVision and then went to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, It made it harder to watch. But I can't really give it that benefit of the doubt. Because maybe, I think one of the issues too, now that, like, we're talking about it, like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, like, when we've already seen, like, superhero TV shows. Like, DC, although they're terrible with the movies, like, they're super sick with, like, the TV shows.
Yeah.
So, like, now we've already been spoiled. Like, the idea of, like, say Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out, like, at the time, like, when Arrow came out, is way different. Because Arrow, I feel like they could have showed us anything, and we would have been like, oh my god, like, this is amazing.
This is fire, yeah.
So I feel like now they had to compete against WandaVision. The idea that we've already seen, like, characters like this, like, with Arrow, Flash, and stuff like that. So we already have an idea of, like, what a superhero, like, TV show is supposed to be like.
Yeah, and this takes place 5 months after WandaVision does. And, like, we still haven't heard, like, a mention of it. And maybe,
that's true.
Maybe there will be. Who knows? Overall, like, again, it seems like if it doesn't pick up, it seems like it's just going to be about side characters. Like, they have to have good last 3 episodes, because I believe it's only 6 episodes. But before this even came out, like, I've talked to you about it, I think WandaVision, just because her power level, her comic book story, everything to go off of, and even, like, the battle versus Thanos, that can tell you, like, her show is going to be, like, number 1 out of the 3. Loki is probably going to be number 2, just because the whole time travel thing. He's just an entertaining guy.
The trailer for that looks sick.
Like, he could be a main guy. You see that, yeah. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier probably could be number 3. It could still be good, and just been comparing against those two. I think it's just gonna be number 3. Okay, let's go. Where do you think the story is going? How does Io and Wakanda play into it? So the last episode we saw Bucky picking up some round ball, some tech, and he finds it, and then Io appears.
I think it's gonna be tough, because there's no way that Io lets Baron Zemo, like she lets go of her hate towards Baron Zemo. Like, Bucky let go of his hate towards him, like, very easily, but I feel like Bucky doesn't really, like, harbor that much, like, the hate or dislike towards, like, anyone. Maybe except anyone. He just seems like he's just, like, that's just not, like, in him. He just kind of wants to do missions. Like, I feel like they're talking about, like, when his therapist asked him, like, yo, what makes you, like, happy? Like, you're free to do what you want to do. I think deep down inside, like, Bucky likes being a Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is, like, they finally gave him a mission, and then
do you think that's what he was in the last episode? Like, where Zemo made him pretend to be a Winter Soldier, and he's fitting right into it.
Yeah, I feel like it felt natural. Like, when I watched that scene, I felt like there was a part that was like he likes doing this stuff. Like, this is what he likes doing, and this time now he's doing it for, like, the right cause. Yeah. So he doesn't have that, like, regret of the things he's doing. So I feel like he fit perfectly in there. So now I feel like it'll be interesting, because Io would want, like, she probably wants revenge, like, at that time. Like, she wants to get Baron Zemo, like, as soon as possible. So I just don't see.
Did she say she's gonna kill him, or did she say she's taking him?
I don't remember.
I don't remember exactly.
I'll clip it though. I'll clip it and add it to the thing.
Yeah, I want to say she wanted to just say, I'm killing him. Like, that doesn't matter. And she's like, she's a Kingsguard. I want to say, they probably have a term for in the Wakandan soldiers, but she's like elite warrior, and she protects the king and the queen. So T'Chaka, his death is very, like, big.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's like a failure to her.
It is a failure, yeah.
I'll be honest, if I was a king and, like, she was the one that's supposed to protect me and I die, like, I'm gonna hold her a little bit accountable. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So I feel like that too. So she's really upset. She's beyond that, like, Wakanda as a country.
Yeah.
Like, they seem like they're very, like, they have solidarity. They know exactly. Everybody's on the same page. Like, fuck this guy. Like, we're going after him. Facts. We're killing him. So that's that. But how does, like, Wakanda play into it? Because we know Chadwick Boseman died. Rest in peace. Great actor. He died, and he was, like, amazing Black Panther. But after the events of Endgame, they come back after being gone for 5 years. So we still don't know, like, what happened in Black Panther. What happened in Wakanda. Who took over in those 5 years? Was it M'Baku? Who's ruling? How's the country doing? It looked really good, who's ruling at the moment. Are they just gonna give up their seat back to T'Chaka or T'Challa? Um, Now Chadwick Boseman is dead. Um,
Like how the story's gonna progress.
how does the story progress? Who takes over? How do they explain where T'Challa would be as like a character if the actor died? How do they do all of that? It's kind of weird. Like I don't know how Wakanda's gonna play this, other than they're just gonna make a few appearances and then just leave.
I feel like now that you've introduced Io, like I feel
like Io can't give up.
like you can't. Yeah, like having her just leave would be such a injustice to like her as a character. Like it would be like so I can't see a way of her leaving, but I also can't see a way of her working with Zemo. So I feel like I wonder. Like I feel like it's more likely that she works with Zemo.
I assume Bucky would make a deal.
Like I'll bring Zemo back if you just like let us like catch these people.
Yeah,
I think that deal like makes the most sense.
Because that's the only thing. Because you can't have like Wakandans just because even if Io can't do it, she'll have backup. And these guys are technology very like advanced. So these guys would just come in with swarms of people.
Do you think so? Zemo had the opportunity to escape at one point, but he decided not to. Do you think Zemo knows that he's gonna be wanted by Wakanda, so he's using Bucky and Falcon as a buffer? Like as long as I'm with these guys, I'm free and I don't have to worry about like the Wakandans. Or do you think like he's like oblivious to like the Wakandans?
No, he can't be oblivious. They already painted this guy as a genius. Billionaire Tony Stark level type guy.
No boost.
Like
they actually put him like a high level.
High level, so they can't just do that. So he has to be able to understand what's coming for him, and he probably has few plans for that. Like you said, he might just want to kill the super soldiers. I don't know why he's like against super soldiers beyond. Like,
they didn't really explain that.
So the Avengers like smoked his home planet, and he makes a joke of it too. Like not a joke, but he's like, have you guys visited the grave the grave sites in Sokovia? No, probably not. Why would you guys? Something like
I remember him saying
something Shaq would say, but yeah, that's the reason why he doesn't like him. But it's not like super soldiers did that. Beyond Captain America, it was like the Avengers created something that they shouldn't have created. So it shouldn't. I don't know why the serum or super soldiers would be something he's against, especially with like how many people have superpowers now. Why is the focus on super soldiers?
That's actually a good point.
But I'm not sure where he's gonna be going. But what about the story in general? Like, we have 3 episodes left. They're roughly gonna be anywhere from 46 minutes to like 52 minutes. Any like predictions or where not predictions? Let's just say where the story's gonna take place.
I think I don't know. It's tough. I think there's gonna be a final battle with Carly, and then I think it's gonna be one of those things. I feel like they're gonna paint Carly as a a good person, but she's also a terrorist at the same time. So I think Carly's gonna have to make a decision of like where she like does she want to be a bad guy forever or does she want to like be a good guy? Like I feel like the line is so thin that it's gonna be hard for her to decide. So I think it's gonna come up to a decision, and I think it's gonna come to like a final fight. I think Zemo ultimately. I feel like Zemo's gonna escape. Like he's gonna find a one way or another to escape, and he's just gonna be like out there in like this in the Marvel universe, like available. You think he's character.
Available for another character, movie or something like that?
I feel like he's too good. Like I can't lie. If I was like filming, if I was the director and the producer, and I filmed like the 3rd episode, and I see.
Are you saying the actor's that good?
It has to be the actor, cause like. You know, I think it has to be the actor because. When I was watching the movie, and I guess I hate to go back, but like when I was watching like Sam and like Bucky like interact and they're like good cop bad cop, like when you think of like movies with like Chris Rock and like Jackie Chan, what was the name of that movie?
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. Like if they were, and I know it's not the same thing, but if those two were the characters that were interacting, it would have been a hit from like the beginning. Or like Bad Boys, like we have those two characters interacting, sure. Like. You would have watched that and you would have been like, nah, this is hilarious. Like, you have to watch this. But, like, so I feel like Baron Zemo is just, like, his character, like, he fits into, like, his character is just so likable that it has to be the actor that, like makes him, like, likable. He makes that show, so I can't imagine him not being able to make, like, another show with like different characters, and now these already likable. Like when he becomes a villain like somewhere else, now you already have created like this environment of like, damn, like I want to see like the villain win. So when he does something and he's successful, it's not corny. It's like, it's kind of like you have that attachment with him. I guess going back to like the main point is in terms of.
So we think Zemo's gonna escape. We think Wakanda's gonna make a deal with Bucky, so Bucky can finish off his
100%.
mission. Like where does Sharon go from here? Where does
Sharon?
Where's
Sharon
the
is
Cap,
tough.
where's the fake Cap go? Those guys.
I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't even think about a lot of that stuff because Fake Cap didn't have like too big of a scene in the last episode, and they only have 3 episodes left.
They only have 3, but those are gonna be like long episodes.
I don't know. I really can't tell. Like, what do you think? Like,
I think you're right on the Zemo and the Wakanda deal for sure. In terms of like the fake Cap, I think he keeps his fake Cap mantle midway through episode 5, I want to say, and then he gets exposed for being a super soldier, and they might revisit Isaiah, and like, cause Isaiah is like really, like pretty much locked up in his own house by his own fears, so they might just try to expose. Sam might do it. He might say like, this white guy that you put. He won't say like that. He'll say this Cap is a fake person. He's manufactured hero. He's not the real deal. He doesn't have the plan. He doesn't know what he's going into, and he comes from a real hero like Isaiah.
Yeah.
And this is who we should aspire to be. Things like that. I don't know if. I think at the end of episode 6, they'll get the shield back. No. I want to say episode 5, they'll get the shield back.
You think they'll get the shield back?
They're gonna steal it. I
From
think they're
him?
gonna steal it. Yeah. So I think they're gonna steal it, and then at the end, eventually they're gonna say like, Cap was right about both of you and me, me and like Sam and Bucky, and then they might share it, which might be if they share it, it's gonna be lame.
If they share the shield?
They share the shield, it's gonna be lame.
I don't think.
Let me just get Sam. Give Sam. Bucky's a little different. Bucky might even say like, "Oh, I'm not all there. Like I don't want to be Captain America.
He's definitely gonna say
I like being the Winter Soldier."
He has that like in him. Like every time he speaks, it's like he feels like he's less than or something like that.
Yeah, I like being the Winter Soldier, so he's gonna say that because he notices like now that he likes being the Winter Soldier. That's what we see from episode 3. What about the revisiting this? So this is not like closing stuff, but revisiting the therapy session that they had. I thought that was funny because he's like, "You want to get closer? Let's get closer." They're like, "This is kind of close." He's like, "This is what you wanted." So they got close, and then they're visiting, and then he gets emotional quick. He's like, "Why'd you give up the shield?" And I was like, "That's real. Like that's real talk. Like you guys had an actual session because."
Like when they were both in the room together. Okay.
Yeah, so because they're having like that therapy session, and he goes right into, he's like, "Why'd you give up the shield?" Gets very emotional, and he's like, "Bro, like why do you care? Like this doesn't have nothing to do with you," and you can see like there's some emotional aspect into Sam as well.
Yeah.
When he's answering that because he doesn't really answer it, and then Bucky just goes full emotional. He's like, if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me, and he can't have that because if he's wrong about Bucky, then Bucky will turn full super like Winter Soldier and like be super bad, and he can't have that on his consciousness. And he can't blame anybody for it now because it's gonna be him. Before he could blame people, and not that he does, but he could subconsciously. That was a cool interaction. I thought it was funny. Did you think?
I feel like it explored them more, but I also didn't feel like that I thought it was alright, like in terms of like that scene, in terms of them being like kind of like a good cop, bad cop, or like a bad boy situation type stuff. But I felt like it did like expand on that more. I actually liked in terms of like, it kind of gave you an understanding of like why Bucky cared so much about like the shield. I feel like it kind of, like you said, Sam, it didn't really give a good reasoning into like why he gave them the shield. Like, I feel like it had to be something more. Maybe he feels like he didn't deserve it. I don't know. But I feel like his reasoning for giving them the shield, like, it feels like dumb for him to like be like, "Yo, here's the shield back," and then like Cap gave it to you. But maybe he felt like he wasn't like doing what he was supposed to. But I don't know. honestly, that scene, I was like neutral on like that scene in terms of like what it provided. I did mess with like, I feel like the therapist was good though, like in terms of like how she, like her as a like character, like I feel like
She didn't force anything.
yeah, she didn't force. She it's kind of like a window into like what these guys are thinking or like what Bucky's thinking, like naturally as a director like you or as a writer like you got to like give us an idea of like what Bucky's thinking and like that scene felt natural in terms of him explaining things to his like psychiatrist or whoever like she was to him.
Yeah.
So I felt like I would say that was good. I felt like we got to see. I wish we got to see like her do that more. Like GTA 5, they have like in the main story they had like a psychiatrist, and you got to see like Michael and like how he felt do that. So I want to see like more of like when there's ever like a gray zone with Bucky, like imagine like he's in the bar, he's fighting at the Winter Soldier, then he does like another session, and then he's just like, yeah, you know what, like I felt like I really like that. But like it would be awkward if he said it outside of that situation.
But he can't say it, so because he messed up and he violated his like parole pretty much.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because he can't, because I think the second rule was he asks, he's like, what's the second rule? And she's like, don't hurt anybody, and he's like, yeah, fuck that rule.
But then Captain America gave him an exemption.
Huh?
The fake Captain America gave him an exemption.
Yeah, exemption, yeah. So he doesn't have to do those therapy things anymore, but he won't be talking about it anymore, so you won't see that.
Dang.
But in terms of like little details, did you notice any little details that you picked up that like?
You already know I'm terrible with the little details. Like I'm terrible with like, I would say like nah. Like I didn't really notice anything that's like small.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed they went to like Mandrapore or something like that.
They went to Riga. They went to another city in Latvia. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, there's a bunch of cities that they went to. They went like a European tour pretty much.
But no, I didn't notice like any like Easter eggs or anything like that.
In terms of the Easter eggs, not too much besides like end of the first episode, like I said, they manufactured Hero. Power Broker is watching. Even in the last episode, episode 3, they already mentioned the Power Broker several times, but they also wrote it on, like they had it on the walls of Madripoor.
Yeah.
Just things like that. That was cool. I don't even know who Smiling Tiger was, so they might revisit that.
I don't even know who that is.
There wasn't a lot of Easter eggs that I caught. Just little wordings of how people said things. Sam really resonated with what Isaiah was saying. Like, not resonated, but like he really got emotional. He's like, Isaiah, that's not, and then he couldn't say anything because this was all like emotional like power that Isaiah was just spitting facts. Like, your people did this to me. I was injected for 30 years in prison for being a hero. Like, imagine serving your country
and then going to jail for like 30 years. That shit. To be honest, that story was terrible. I was like,
no, booze. People are so what's it called, patriotic, and then
they get nothing in return.
And then yeah, imagine being one of those people, and then having to listen to All Lives Matter protesters or something like that. Like, you know how pissed I would be. Like, bro, what are you guys talking about?
To be honest, I understand his frustration.
You can't kneel during the anthem, kneel on the flag or some shit like that. And it's like, bro, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I feel like when like he was explaining the story of him being like locked up and stuff like that, I was like, damn, like, cause like unlike the other super soldiers, for whatever reason, he ages like a regular human. So I'm like, they took 30 years like of his life. I totally understand why he's upset still.
Yeah, I'd be fucking furious as well.
Yeah, I would throw things just like him. I'd be like, get out of my house.
Bro, the man threw the whatever that was, that little tin can thing, straight into it. I don't even know if Cap could do that.
I didn't know he was a super soldier until he threw that.
Yeah, there in the comics they actually mentioned that specific name of the character. He's a black soldier as well, and a lot of times in the comics they'll say like if it's a superhero they'll put black in front of it because they were racist too. Like they were trying not to be, but they at the time it was just
when you read like the old comic books, it feels like I just feel like they didn't know better. Like when you read it, it's just like you understand what they're trying to do, but like
They definitely could have done better, but they thought they were doing the best.
They for that time, honestly, I'll give it to them because like
yeah.
when I was reading like the 1960s, like the Spider-Man one, they're talking about like equality and like treating people the same, and like I felt like during that time like it would be a time like where you expect them like when you go into like these businesses and you go into their past, they'll be like, oh yeah, like this business used to never hire black people, or they used to make sure like they would never serve like black people. But like when you look at Marvel's like books, like it'd be like, yeah, like treat everyone with equality, and like they would have like discussions about equality. So honestly, like I was like appreciative of it because I was like, you know what, like at least these guys like were trying to like make things equal. But they would just like sometimes the message would just be like a little bit off, or I could see like how like this message would be like wrong or some sense. But
do you know that in the comics like there is a fake Captain America, and it is John Walker that takes over, and then he has his Howling Commandos like.
I remember the Howling Commandos.
Similar to like Captain America had them in the first war that he fought. He had his guys, right? They were just humans. In the comics, John Walker takes over the Captain America mantle, and then he is the manufactured hero, but he has these super soldier team, and they're called the Buckies. The Bucky stands for something, and that's pretty much the team. So I don't know if they'll go that route. I hope they don't. That's something that I don't want to see. In terms of, is there something that you hope happens and you hope that doesn't happen?
I hope Baron Zemo like becomes the main character and like his own thing. I can't lie, like I like the character. Like he's my favorite character in the TV show.
If they announce a spin-off show for him,
I'll watch 100%.
You'll watch it?
I
hope they don't announce a spin-off show.
You hope they don't? No, why not?
Because like I get like you like him and everything, but the more shows you create, the more holes can happen in terms of like the overall story. There's more gaps. Like I don't want that stuff. Like it happens to Star Wars so much. It's ridiculous.
I feel like Star Wars with their movies, but like I don't know with Baron Zemo. I feel like I wish they introduced him. They could have saved us 2 episodes of 2 boring episodes and just introduced him in like the 2 episodes. But we'll see what they do with like 4, 5, 6. I feel like they're running out of time. Like they don't right now. They can't afford for 4, 5, 6 to be like 1 and 2. Like you just can't.
I don't think it will be. I think it'll be planned out properly. I hope they have more like nice women in there, like, cause off the top of my head I can only think of Shannon, like, or not Shannon, Sharon Carter. But in like WandaVision, like she wasn't like
Wanda was a baddie.
She didn't look great every episode, but she was a baddie 100%. Especially when she got into her costume. Man, Elizabeth Olsen is nice. So.
But she was the only one. I like Agatha in some episodes. Agatha was hit or miss. Like some of them should be. I'm like, yo, Agatha's bad.
Yeah.
And then after the other one, I'm like, she's just like she's like older. Like.
Yeah, she's older, and you could tell. But like the one where she like, the song where it goes like it was Agatha all along, and then she has she's on the picnic and she goes like that. I'm like, you know what? She ain't that bad in that one. But
I think it was the same message because I was watching.
Honestly, and you're right because there wasn't a lot of like baddies. I did like. What's her name? Monica Rambeau. She was cool.
The black girl, right?
Black girl,
yeah.
And then...
when they had, like, the pool dinner, like, when they first introduced Monica at, like, tea party or something like that. They had some baddies in that show, I'm not gonna lie.
And then, the last few episodes, I'm like, Darcy can catch it. Like,
which one's Darcy again?
She's the the scientist girl.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yo, like
I googled what's her real actor name because it was on Twitter. Like they're saying like she's bad, and I googled her. I was like,
yeah, it's honestly like in other stuff like she's okay, like whatever. But this maybe it's a lack of girls. Like I was like, damn, she catches stuff.
No, I think in the other there is a movie because she's in the Thor movies. I didn't know she was in the Thor movies until like.
She's Jane's assistant, yeah. So yeah, I hope there's more like nicer women to just to see, you know. That's just my perspective. In terms of story, what do I hope happens or doesn't happen? I hope they don't leave this I hope because we know for sure WandaVision is just a 1 season thing.
Yeah.
Loki could be 2 seasons. This could be 2. I don't think it's been announced.
So they haven't decided for this one?
I don't think they have.
I've heard it's just 1.
But, yeah. I hope it's just 1. I don't want to see another TV show. Like, I just want to, this is the bridge between now and, or this is like the early phase 4. I don't want to see anything.
You're done with TV shows? You don't think they should do TV shows?
They should do TV shows, but not with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, make something else. Make it better.
Like, this seems like a show that it has to be 2 seasons. You know why? Because
it's so slow?
Yeah, like, I feel like there's no way, like, when you say 6 episodes, like, I expect every episode to be lit. You know what I mean?
Is it too late for them to just say, we're going to have 7, 8, 9 episodes? It is too late because they have to plan it all out.
Yeah, like, they can't make more, but, like, in terms of, if they told me there was going to be 9 episodes, I'd be like, okay, like, it makes sense why, like, the first 2, like, were set up. Because, like, the first 2 were, like, super setup episodes, and, like,
very set up episodes.
And, like, you only have 6 of them. So, like, the first episode should have been, like, bro, you set everything up, and, like, you just introduce your characters while you're, like, the plot is moving forward. So then it's like, like, this guy does this. Like, in episode 3, they picked up Sharon while the plot was moving forward. They introduced, like, they kind of introduced you to the power broker while the plot was moving forward. That's, I don't know. But you hope they don't, so you hope.
I don't want to see another season. I think it's just too much, like, because I'm definitely coming off of WandaVision where, like, I'm entertained midway through, like, throughout the week. I'm not entertained throughout the week for this. Like, there's no theories that are, like, super entertaining or, like, I don't even want to come up with a theory, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I feel like you're 100% right.
So I want something, like, a little bit more interesting. Loki's more funny, so I'll look forward to that. I just want this to be, like, the early stages of Phase 4, and we don't have to revisit it again. I'm really looking forward to Multiverse of Madness in terms of Phase 4. Just because WandaVision comes back, like, Wanda comes back, and I think she's just going to fight Doctor Strange. Because they kept mentioning, like, you're even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Like,
oh, yeah, she did say that. I think that would be the first, like, theater movie coming back that, like, Marvel would watch. See. I heard they're going to there's another one that they're going to just put on, like, Disney Plus.
Shang-Chi's supposed to be, I'm pretty sure, the next one, September 3rd.
There's one they announced, they're like, yeah, this one's for sure going to be Disney Plus. Maybe, was it a Marvel one? I can't remember. They said it's going to be like $20. No, it was, who's the girl that,
Black Widow?
Hawkeye, Black Widow. Black Widow's going to be.
Yeah, that's announced, yeah. I think that's July. For the show Falcon and Winter Soldier, like, what could happen that's, like, interesting? Because right now, like, it's cool. I hope they use Torres more. He's cool. I just like, to be honest, I favor, like, when colored people are on the screen. Like, I'm like, I hope this guy gets a bigger role. Like, I'm tired of seeing white people. Like, no offense, just, like, we've already seen tons of them. Like, Bruce Banner, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Cap,
Iron Man.
Iron
Man's supposed to be, like, Spanish.
Thor. Like, I get some of these characters have to be white, but some of them don't have to be. So, like, let's switch it up here. Let's
do something different. I feel like with, like...
T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman, fire character. So I just want to, and that's why I hope that's why a lot of me hope Sam, like, becomes, like, Cap, or does more damage, because just want to see these guys do well.
I just hope maybe his lines suck, but I just hope his character becomes better, where it's just like everyone's like, oh, I love this guy. Like, Black Panther's character was, like, so sick. Like, everyone's like, oh, I love you. Like, he was a perfect character to get behind. I can't lie, I feel like the best character out of that was, like, Michael B. Jordan. Like, I feel like Killmonger was the perfect. I know people don't. I don't know why. I've heard, like, people don't like Killmonger, but I feel like Killmonger was too sick. Like,
he's too sick. I heard rumors that Killmonger could come back and become Black Panther.
I think that would be sick. Like,
that'd be insane. Cause
it would be sad, but at the same time, it'd be, like, I liked Killmonger's character just way too much.
The first thing I heard was, like, Shuri's gonna be Black Panther, and that's cool. Like, you could have a female lead and everything like that. But honestly, no hate. Like, it's just gonna drop off. It's not the viewership's gonna drop off.
Is Shuri, like, the sister?
Shuri's the sister, yeah. So it's gonna drop off. Like, we'll still watch it because we're Marvel heads, but
she's not. I just feel like her character doesn't fit.
The casual won't like it. It doesn't really fit too well. She does I think she becomes Black Panther in one of the comics. Who knows? But it needs to be somebody, like, just, like, powerful, because Chadwick Boseman, great actor. Michael B. Jordan, great actor. Killmonger, big time in the MCU, and so is Black Panther. He's big time. He's big time in both comics and MCU. So they have to make sure they hit. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm not sure what do I hope happens. Like honestly, like there's not much that I care for to happen in terms of story.
Who's your favorite character?
Who's my favorite character? Shit, that's a hard. I know you was gonna say Zemo right away.
100%.
Favorite character? Damn, I don't even think I have one. I could care less.
Do you like the characters?
I guess it's Sam.
You do not have a favorite character because you don't like the characters, or like you don't.
No, I don't hate them, but it's honestly just been whatever so far, and which is wild because a lot of people have been talking about how this is a better series than WandaVision, which it's not. Like you can have your opinion and be wrong about it. And somebody said the first episode was better than the entire series. I'm like, I don't know what you're watching. I understand you guys want to see action and stuff, but that's not what the story is. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing. Well, I'll have more list of like what doesn't happen. I don't want to see. I have cliffhanger at the end. I don't want to see. I don't want to see Zemo free and then the next season be like we gotta get Zemo. Like I don't want to be that. That's gonna be so. You would like it because
I like Zemo. I want to see him escape.
Okay, so they could do that. Like Zemo escapes and then Falcon and Winter Soldier have to go get Zemo because they're the one that did it.
Yeah.
And they'll probably come to agreement with like the U.S. Government, or the UN about that. But if they do that, they have to go perspective of Zemo, not Falcon and Winter Soldier. So it has to be like, the main character is Zemo. It's not Cap. It's not me and you going to find Zemo. It's Zemo, dusting us and like making us look silly.
Oh, okay.
That's when a second season could be good and I'll enjoy it. Anything beyond that is not gonna be good, even with Zemo.
I don't know. I feel like we have to see how these next few episodes turn out, and then like.
Do you have anything that you hope happens or doesn't happen? Beyond what we just talked about.
No, like, I have to see these three. I just hope
there's
the next few episodes.
There's not a lot to go off of.
There really isn't.
One thing I hope they shut down the Flag Smashers pretty soon. Like I don't want to see the Flag Smashers anymore.
I feel like this fight they barely even got started.
Yeah, I don't want to see them.
They barely even got started. And the crazy thing is they're searching for the Flag Smashers, but the story didn't get interesting. Like the Doctor was more interesting than the Flag Smash. I kind of knew he was
are the super soldiers, and we don't care for them.
Yeah,
like there's nothing to care about.
Like I didn't really care about them. Like the Doctor was such an interesting character. Like I was like, I hope Zemo doesn't kill the Doctor because like. Yeah. I felt like the Doctor was interesting, but
he seems more genuine because like a lot of times these doctors like, oh, I'm good for the humanity or this. This guy said I want to make my name and I did it. Like that's who I am, and then he gets killed. That was funny. Io's cool. We haven't seen Power Broker yet, so who do you think? Like, do you know of anybody being the Power Broker or if he's gonna be super important? Do they capture Power Broker in this series? Likely not.
I'll be 100% honest. Like, when I was reading in I didn't even think about who the Power Broker was until like I read a recap of the episode just to be sure, and it said something Power Broker. So then when I read the recap of the episode, I was like, huh. I thought it was gonna be like I thought it was just like a named character because I remember them saying like the King of Madripoor, like the Power Broker and stuff like that. So like I thought he was just gonna be like one of those like, oh yeah, like this is the president of like Madripoor, like this he's the president of the United States, but like it's just one of those characters they mentioned, but like it's not important. Mm-hmm. But like then I realized then I started like reading more like oh, this guy is gonna be an important character. So
did you think he came? Was he doing his illegal stuff prior to the blip or after the blip?
I'd have to say prior to. Like if he's the King of Madripoor, it couldn't have just been in like the 2 years that like he came back. So I feel like he was probably like cemented and known, and then like and then I feel like that's how it would have had to start.
Yeah, well I hope they don't do anything crazy bad with this. 3 episodes. Predictions for the next episode. What do you think? So they might even steal the
Shield next episode.
The Shield next episode.
I don't think so.
No, not that one. It's either the next one or the 5th.
I think the Captain America guy makes it to like, the last episode.
That guy's annoying too, especially when he's like, So he definitely had all the sympathy votes up until he's like, I could use Cap's wingman at my side, sidekick. I think he uses the word
Yeah.
sidekick, and it just triggers a thing because I don't think like Anthony Mackie's acting is really good at that point because he says sidekick and you'd think, oh, he doesn't like being called sidekick.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe that's the thing, but in my perspective, it was Cap never said he's a sidekick. You know, like that's never a thing. And it's another racial tone, like you fight beside me and I get all the glory type of shit.
I didn't, to be honest, that was good, like, picking up, because I didn't notice, like, because I knew the show was gonna, like kind of have those in, but I didn't pick up on, like, the little ones, like, the details, like, when they didn't make it obvious, I just assumed, like, oh, this is, like, another Marvel, because, like, when you think about it, like, all the TV shows are like that, right? So, like, when I see this, it's not, like, I never think of it as, like, all, like, yeah, like, race. They're trying to, like, send a message. I just thought of it as, like, bro, like, this is literally every TV show, so I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's gonna be interesting. I still don't think. I think he's gonna be a big character like till the very end.
He's gonna be a big character. What were they doing prior to him being announced as Captain America? They said that in the locker room. I forget exactly what they said, but they went to go do some missions in.
I think he was fighting in like Iraq or Afghanistan or something like that.
It wasn't one of those places, but it was a place, and it's like what were they really doing there?
I can't remember, but
was that where they?
I'll have a pop up though that says what they're doing.
Yeah, so we'll see what they said something, so we're going through that. What I think that's gonna happen in the next episode. Next 2 episodes, I guarantee you they steal the shield, because there's no chance that they leave it to the last episode. The next 2 episodes, he gets the shield, and he's gonna say, "Man, this is tougher than I thought," or like, "I can't live up to the expectations." That little sob story stuff. It is really Marvel. Like this is right back to Marvel, like action-packed superhero type of shit. Mm-hmm. And honestly, we might be tired of it at this point.
Maybe because we've seen so much. Like Iron Man went through that.
So much shit.
We've seen like so much like, and then comparing to like when you have to fight Thanos, like.
Yeah.
Like, you have to... Like, I feel like there's 2 ways to make a villain sick. Like, either the stakes are super high, or, like, the villain is super interesting.
The villain has to be super interesting, yeah.
And right now, the villain isn't interesting. Thanos had both. The stakes were extremely high, and Thanos was extremely interesting.
And they gotta be evil to... Not just be evil, because that's just like, alright, well... There's no depth to that. They gotta be evil to the point where they have a backstory, and... They think they're doing good, but realistically, it's a terrible thought process. Stuff like that. That makes a villain way more interesting. Because even who would you say is the villain now? Power Broker and Flag Smasher. One we haven't seen. Halfway through the show, we haven't seen one, and the other team is just like pretty much civilians that got super soldiers.
Yeah.
Like it's
regular people.
And somehow they're dusting like our superheroes. If I'm a citizen and I saw a clip of that, we're posting it. Academics is posting something like that. Like
keep in mind they recorded the situation.
Which one?
They recorded Winter Soldier fighting.
They did. I noticed that as well. Yeah.
Top of academics.
But imagine that, like academics.
He needs to do a cameo.
Winter Soldier and Captain America, Winter Soldier and Falcon got dusted by these mass figures. Is this shit or not, or something like that?
Top team post on Instagram.
Yeah, that'd be fucking wild, but I don't know. We don't really have.
Is this your Captain America or not?
We don't really have any theories going into this. Like, it's pretty much more things that we wish don't happen. We'll try to keep it like even kill, not base it off of WandaVision. Mm-hmm. But we could look at it like this: like we've already seen most of the build up. So, like, all we have to see is the good stuff.
Hopefully.
But those are my thoughts. Do you have any closing points?
All I want to say, if you made it to this point, I appreciate it. Yeah, and I know this one was a long one because it was the first one, so we had to incorporate, like, more thoughts into just one episode. Technically, 3 episodes into one. But, no, we appreciate it. And, honestly, we'll be back for the 4th one, talk a little bit more about what happened in the 4th one. hopefully all they have to do now is just like continue the story for 3 more episodes and like make each episode better than the last one. If they don't even have to make it better. Make each episode just as good as episode 3.
Episode 3.
I feel
you
like
really like episode 3.
I feel like episode 3 was just too fire. Like
they gotta be better than episode 3.
If they're just as good as episode 3, I'll be like, alright, this is something we ended off good. And we're obviously probably gonna be tougher on the show than like IGN. Like IGN rated like the last episode an 8, I think, and I wouldn't rate the last episode an 8.
But you said it's really good.
Oh, sorry, episode 2. IGN rated episode 2 an 8, and I wouldn't rate episode 2 an 8. My fault. So, and apparently IGN rated episode 1, I think, an 8 too. I think they rate all Marvel things an 8. I don't know.
Just an 8, just a general 8.
But like, nah, like I feel like episode 3 is really good, and hopefully episode 4 gives us more content to talk. If episode 4 is like 1 and 2, like the next. Who knows? The next time we record might be like 20 minutes. How about you? What do you think? Like any closing statements?
Nothing that I can think of. Pretty much you covered it all. We just hope the next episode is a little bit hyper, better, or comparable to episode 3. We can talk about more things. We'll try to get these videos on a week-to-week basis.
Facts.
And then after this series, probably start with Loki. Or some other stuff like maybe anime or anything else, pretty much.
And we might be able to like just do like a jump in between. And listen, if you're watching this and you're on the YouTube comment section, you can comment whatever you want.
Yeah, and we'll definitely pay attention to that.
But no, definitely maybe who knows, we might be able to compare things like in between, like stuff that's like more universe related instead of like specific TV shows related, just to fill in the gap between like certain episodes or certain series. But yeah, other than that, I have no other thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for watching.